The art is not necessarily in the resulting portraits, but the art is also in the social interactions that actually happened during this act.
Daniel, thank you very much for being with us today. To begin with, could you tell me in which context those images were shot?
I'm a Bolivian and Algerian artist. I've been living in France for over 10 years, and the project is actually set in my hometown in La Paz, Bolivia. Bolivia is a society that's very fractured. There is a lot of racial and socioeconomic divisions. So the project was born out of this willingness to engage with photographic portraiture in a different way. I wanted to create an approach that felt more collaborative, and so I did this playful gesture of setting up a photography stall in the middle of one of the busiest street markets in Latin America, and I decided to place the photo studio in the middle of the street with a sign that said free photos, Fotos Gratis in Spanish. And the idea was just to let people voluntarily sit down to have their photographs taken.
There's a whole tradition of street studios in the history of photography. How did you take that into account?
I was wanting to make reference and pay tribute to a certain kind of history of photography, specifically itinerant photographers. But there is also another part that was more inspired by conceptual art, and specifically practices of artists who've done interventions in the public space. What does it mean to create art in the public space? What kind of social interactions does it create?
What does portrait represent for you?
Portrait's always about collaboration. Ariela Azulet talks about a photographic encounter. And I think this is a view of photography that I align with as well. So I wanted with this project to show that there's different social interactions happening around the photographic act, around the photographic gesture. I wanted to show photography as a performative act, as a playful act of setting up this photo stall in the middle of a busy street market and see what happens.
There's something almost anachronistic in this project. How did people react?
There was definitely a lot of curiosity. People at the beginning were skeptical about whether or not it was actually free. And I think that's what I liked about the project. It showed all the power dynamics around the photographic act. What I'm simply underlining is the fact that there's complex dynamics at play every time we make a portrait, especially in a context like Bolivia. How do we approach this territory? How do we approach portraiture of the inhabitants in this territory?
Who are the people who come to you?
As you can imagine, the public space is oftentimes male-dominated, and so a lot of the people who sat down to have their portraits taken were middle-aged men. And when it came to women sitting down, it was often accompanied by their partners or their child. I realized after some time of doing this project, people were not motivated to participate because of having a free photo printed. They were motivated to participate because they wanted to be part of something. There was almost like a spectacle. Everybody was looking at the sitters having their photos taken, and they wanted to feel seen as well. The project is about that. It's about how we look at each other, from what distance and from what position. And this is why the title of the video installation that I prepared is titled in Spanish Mirar, which simply means to see, because that's what the project boils down to. It's about how we look at each other.
Can you tell me about the background of those images?
The background shows Painted Mountain, which was made by a Bolivian painter called Cate Arauz. And the mountain actually that you see in the backdrop is called the Illimani. The Illimani is the main mountain that you see from different angles in the city. I thought people would feel proud to have their photographs taken with this image of the mountain. And at the same time, I feel a deep connection to this mountain because it also represents my longing for a territory that I have left for already over a decade. So it also has a nostalgic and personal aspect.
There's a window in the exhibition in which you decided to show some contact sheets. Why did you think that was necessary?
For me, it was very important to have this space because there is a text next to the contact sheets which actually recounts different anecdotes that happen around this photographic act. I wanted to give space to those funny anecdotes, and it's all of those anecdotal aspects of the project that some may consider it marginal to the project, but for me it's actually the very heart of it. The art is not necessarily in the resulting portraits, but the art is also in the social interactions that actually happened during this act.